Now, Eric might be one of the
Oh,
few
that's good.
non-lawyers we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Mostly lawyers, but as like I have a guy who works in my office for 20 years named Jess Villalobos. Shout out to Jess. He's more competent than 90% of lawyers I've ever met.
Eric trains our
At being a
lawyers.
PI.
He
He's
trains
the
them.
most competent PI lawyer I know, Jess, but he's not a lawyer. So yeah, I can understand. Eric obviously his reputation is that he is one of the most skilled personal injury practitioners
That's right.
there is.
Yeah, being understanding the medical side and the laws combined together, I think that's the gift that I have that was able to, show a lot of the law clerks with our demand writing skills and so forth, how to combine the medical side to their law perspective aspect. Put that stuff together is actually what's makes it real good. So
Yeah, we met Eric the first time whenever I was a solo practitioner. Left my firm after a couple of years, and we were working a lot with orthopedic doctors, and Eric was running an office for a very busy practitioner that actually did my shoulder and hip surgery fast forward many years. But Eric was so efficient with medical reports, being responsive to our clients and the concierge service. And I was like, I went to my twin brother Brad, and I was like, we got to hire this guy. So I had to have a sit down with his boss, a surgeon that we all know, and say, can I please?
well, I'll
Have
tell you a
the
little bit
permission.
more. I'll add more to that. So he calls me and said, "Hey, I'm about to open up my own office. Do you know anybody like yourself that wants to come and work for me?" Right? And I'm like, "That's a kind of weird question to ask me. Oh, you need someone that works just like me? Why don't you just
You know what I was
interview-
really getting at. Let's be
interview-
honest. Let's
just
be honest.
interview
He was
me."
beating around the bush.
Right. So I was like, just interview me. He was like, no, I can't do that. He was playing hard again. I was like, dude, get out of here. So we actually sat down and met. And, I wasn't looking for a job. I was like, you know what? I'm interested what this guy's all about. I was pleasure. I was working with him. His clients always said great things about him. And I was like, this guy knows his stuff. He's bringing in cases, just started his office, and clients just keep coming in. I was like, this guy must be doing something good. So he and I kind of just gel at the very beginning of the stages of the cases. And there was a client that came into our office on the medical side, and she needed a knee replacement.
Oh, I know exactly. I won't say her name, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Wow.
I told that patient, hey, you know what? I can't get that surgery scheduled because you're not represented by an attorney. Once you get an attorney, then let me know and I'll help you get that. It ended up being Bob. That's how we met. Bob comes in and says, hey, you remember that client? Well, I'm her attorney. He was like, but I need you to do me a favor. Can you get that surgery scheduled Friday? And it was a Monday call. And I was like, sure, I'll get it done for you. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, let's get it done. Right?
Music to your ears.
Yeah. So Friday gets the surgery. He gets the op report on Monday. He settles that case in 2 weeks.
Yep. That's
Got
a
the
lot.
policy.
Yep.
He pays the doctor a big, substantial, great amount because he did really good on the case. And then the doctor was like, who is this guy? I don't want to meet this guy. And that was the actual start of the relationship with that case.
Amazing.
And Eric teaches a lot of other lawyers that are being case managers or running pre-litigation how to do that, which is a hard skill set because a lot of people don't understand how to navigate. You're running concierge service for injured victims, right? I mean, that's what you do.
I mean,
Yes.
it's so difficult, especially now these days. Like I see it in my own practice, and most people probably see it in their practice. You hire these young lawyers out of law school. They come to work for you. They don't know shit about litigation, for sure. And they don't know shit about pre-litigation, even worse. They don't know anything. So you got to explain to them how this shit works. And a lot of times, and lots of lawyers, I have lawyers in my office that have worked for me for years who have never handled any aspect of a pre-litigated case, right? They don't know anything about it. They only know from filing a lawsuit on, right? So they don't understand it. So it's rare that people that understand the whole big picture, that understand pre-lit, understand litigation, understand settlement, understand lien negotiation,
Right.
understand, settlement and disbursement and closing the case out. These are tremendous skills to have. And to have someone like Eric who can do from the sign up to the disbursement and hand the client the check, I mean, it's worth its weight in gold. It doesn't fall out of the sky every day.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problem in our industry is working up your foundation of your cases, right? Look at the bad stuff that case come in. It could be a bad client, could be a bad accident, has no insurance, you got a hit and run. So all that stuff, lining it up from the very beginning and paying attention to those details is the crucial, important part of every case. One of the cases that Bob had that brought Brian Panish involved is a case that came in the door from the very beginning. Right, it was all customer service. This guy was injured in almost near a wheelchair. Met him at his house, got to know the family. He lived in a 5x5 room. He was injured.
Fell off a ladder, like doing work for a lady, and there's no workers' comp. There's nobody he could recover from.
He had no health insurance, no nothing. And he called us, came in to me, referred to a family friend, and I went in there, met them, and that case right there was all about the foundation of that case. What information were you looking for? How to get that information? And then we just worked it up as it went by. Client did not want to get surgery because he was so scared. That's one of the biggest problems that we all have in pre-litigation is no client wants to have surgery.
Especially the Hispanic community too. They don't trust.
Well, they don't trust, but they don't have anybody to help to pay the bills. There's no support system, right? And anybody that knows, Hispanic people are hardworking people, right? They depend on their paycheck every 2 weeks. And if they're the bread makers, they won't stop working. So how do you talk to this client and say, hey, I will help you. This is what needs to be done. And this is what we bring to the table. This is where I teach everyone as, our law clerks, our staff is client comes in first, right? Find a way how to talk to them, communicate with them with respect, give them that authority, let them make the decision on their own, but give them the options, right? And that's how you build up the foundations of the cases with small things.
Yeah, and then the fast forward to that is that individual who came in through Eric from Family Friend, and we litigated this case. They had only $1 million policy, $1 million that they did not want to even think about this individual. We had almost 10 times that multiple of that policy verdict. He now owns a lot of property in Los Angeles.
The client?
The client. And he helps a lot of folks.
You really changed the guy's life.
Oh,
I remember you tried that case with Brian downtown.
And that's where we encourage everybody. If you're watching or listening to the show, I was a young lawyer at that time. This case came in, and I'd tried maybe 6-ish cases at that time, and I was, this case is a bigger animal, and I brought in somebody at that time in my life that understood the value and how we could drive it home, and I gave 50% of my fee to one of the best trial lawyers that we know today. And I do this with a lot of our friends. Mara and I have split cases. We've done with a lot of our friends to try that case with me. And I've learned so much from trying a case with Brian Panish and to get recovery for that individual who now is a property owner and an employer and giving people dignity. If that had never, if I had been a selfish lawyer that wanted to try that on my own, we could have gotten an okay result.
Yeah.
But not that result.
Right.
That everybody did better, especially the client. And that's the beauty of we've been Eric does a lot for, not only Justice HQ, mentoring a lot of the case managers and pre-litigation lawyers and attorney share, just cultivating this fee split society.
Yeah. And going back to what Bob said is he brought in one of his cases that he knew he could try and he knew he was going to get a nice verdict. Maybe not a gigantic verdict that we end up getting with Brian Panish, but the bigger picture to that was that opened a lot of doors.
Yep.
And that's where JHU is, we're trying to open up a lot of doors, right? Help and grow, teach, educate. And what that does is that builds up a bigger community because everyone is winning. And I feel like a lot of people in this industry are so greedy that they don't want to open up other doors. Or even some attorney just say, the staff, that's a great case manager, but you know what? You got to stay in the office all day. Mm-hmm. But that person could be a great marketing to that firm if you just support, give backbone and say, let me help you go to this conference and mingle with people, right? And I feel like the platform that Bob has helped me throughout these years, and I learned from him, and it's a guy that I admire because that case there was an eye-opening for me to say, damn, this guy could have taken the whole fees, but you know what? He just decided to bring someone else to learn, and then I learned through that process because I was in trial with him because I was helping the interpretation at one point, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And client comes back now to this day, is calling me, appreciating, sends me people. right?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
Well, you have to. You know, I mean, to this day, I've been practicing 27 years, tried over 50 jury trials. Fucking, I don't need anybody's help for anything. You know what I mean? I know how to, I can handle my business. I can try my case and do everything. But still to this day, I always have to put my client's best interests in front of my own. Always. And there's occasional cases, like I get these civil rights cases. I just gave a case to Umberto Guizar that he settled for $5 million recently. Shout out to Umberto Guizar. Police shooting case. I don't know about police shooting cases. If I wanted to be a greedy pig and keep the case and try to fuck around with it and try to settle the case, because it was a bad shooting on body cam, you know, they shot the dude in the back. It's just fucking crazy, right? But still, it's not my lane, man. It's not what I know. And at the end of the day, what's going to be best for the client? And I had to give Umberto 50% of the fee. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
But he went out and got full value on this case, $5 million, a value that I would never get close to because they never pay me because they know I don't know shit what the fuck I'm doing. But you have to understand that at the end of the day, these are your client's only shot at these cases. And if it was something that's in my wheelhouse, premises liability case, a good auto case, you know, dog bite, something like that, sure, I keep the case all day. But you have to put your client's interest in front of your own.
And it grows many
always.
multiples.